Okay, let's get started. The session is on recording. So it's just a continuation of where we stopped last night. Last night we looked at requirement gathering. Yeah, so you know that after gathering requirement, you need to put it in a proper documentation, not just put it as a note, you know. Yeah, everybody can put some whatever collection your note as just normal notes or lecture notes or study notes. But we as professionals, there's a way we arrange our requirements, the data we collected. We cannot call it an information until we arrange it the way it's supposed to be in a well-documented manner using the best practice. When it's in the well-documented manner, that's when we call it requirement. But the information or the raw data we collected is just a data, raw data, unprocessed data. So we are going to see how we are going to document whatever requirements you gathered. You know, during requirement gathering, you might use a lot of formats through observation, through interview, through workshop. You can use all those things to gather requirements. Then you sit down and put it together the way it should be. So that is what we plan to see. How do we start putting any kind of requirements we gathered during requirement gathering session into a proper document that will become a working document, a live document, an authoritative document that the project team will then leverage on to start executing their project, because this is the foundation. You are the person laying the foundation. Requirement gathering is the foundation laying. If you capture wrong requirements, then it means your foundation is going to be weak. If you gather right requirements and you didn't document it very well, it's the same thing. Your foundation is equally going to be weak. But when you got the right requirement and document it properly, then you have a solid ground to start. And there's no way your foundation is going to be weak. And let's look at our notes, take it from there. It's going to be step by step. So by the time we finish, you can beat your chest and say, yes, I think I'm now a small business analyst. Not big one, but small. Because we'll still have a long way to go in this process of becoming a business analyst. All right. You can see my note, you say yes, and those who are not seeing, you can say nay.
Yes, you can see it.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Yes carries the votes. Yeah, good. Okay, that's it. So, what is requirement documentation? Yeah, tonight, like you see, is requirement documentation and modeling. Yeah. Tonight, we are going to look at only, this note contains both documentation and modeling. But this night, we are going to look at only documentation. Tomorrow we complete because we don't have enough time to treat all of them. So by tomorrow, we are going to be completing the practical modeling aspect of it, because modeling is not just, we need to be practical about it. We need to use tools like Draw.io, Visio, Lucidchart, any of these tools. This is what we're going to use to do the modeling, is creating diagrams, creating process map, process chart or map, call it process map. That's what we're going to do during the modeling. But now we cannot go and start doing the modeling if we don't document the requirements. So requirement documentation and modeling are critical tasks in business analysis. After requirement gathering meeting, This artifact captures the need and expectation of stakeholders and provide a clear foundation. Like I said earlier, it provides clear foundation. This is the time you are laying the foundation. This is to show you that you, as a business analyst, you are a very important person in any project, in an organization. Like I said, you lay foundation. At this point, there might not be project manager. You might not have a project manager at this point. You might just be alone laying the foundation. Only you. The project manager might join later. In some cases where we have resident project manager, they might just join you from the beginning and you start working with them. But if you're a company that wants to save money, at this point, there is even no need for project manager. So the few aspects of the project management in this initiation, you, the business analyst, can even take over it and do it. And that's why so many companies are looking, they tend to hire more business analysts than project managers, because a business analyst can run it end to end. But if you say a very experienced project manager, he must have been a business analyst before becoming a project manager. Okay, like I said, this is the foundation laying. Yeah, you capture the expectation of stakeholders and provide a clear foundation for the project development. Effective documentation helps ensure alignment across all teams and stakeholders, while modeling visualize the process and requirements to identify gaps and inefficiencies. So after the documentation, you do modeling to give a visual representation of the whole process. Okay, let's try to understand key aspects, key components of this requirement documentation. We have what we call requirement specification. At this point, we want to break it down into different stages, into different time. We specify every requirement, give it a name, make sure that they have a heading. Every requirement must have a heading, a type. So that is what we mean by specification. Is it functional requirement? Is it a non-functional requirement? Is it a business rule? Where does this requirement belong to? We have to first do this specification. Yesterday we talked about types of requirements. You remember we talked about functional requirement and non-functional requirement. So functional is what the system must do. Non-functional is system performance, security, and usability criteria. And then we'll have business rule, conference, or policies that the system must adhere to. Once we capture the specification, we'll talk about the process flows, or the processes within the context we are trying to analyze or we're trying to establish. We need to find how many processes do we have here. Or even if it's a one process, then we must document that process. In a situation whereby we are working on improving lead management is a very important aspect in every organization. If you don't know how to manage your lead, your company is doomed. Why? Because this is the process of user acquisition. You are going to, this is where you go hunting for your customers, those that are going to buy from you, buy your product or buy your services. So lead can be a process. I just want to use it to see that this is what we can call a process. So within a process, we can say, what is the current process? This process that have a problem, like for instance, we say lead is having an issue. What is the process of lead management, end to end? What is the process? We need to understand this. Part of going to part of the documentation. If, for instance, I'm using lead as an example, you can use any other example. So that is what we mean by process flow. And then we equally have another process flow, which is, yeah, this is the as-is process, but how do we want it to be? What is the expectation of the stakeholders? Mind you, when you are gathering requirements, you will equally ask them, how do you want it to look like after this improvement? That is what we call to be. So what am I trying to say? During documentation, you must establish these two processes: the current state and the future state. Yeah, we call it as-is. As-is is just a name, mean as it is. That's what we use it as just a nickname. As-is, but it has been so much adaptable in the industry, so that whenever you hear as-is, you should know that as-is is the current process. You see it here, current process or system being used. When we talk about to be, the way it is going to be means the desired process or the future process. If you see a lot of maybe a lot of people doing a renovation or thing, they always say have two pictures, before and after. That is what it just means. So don't get confused about it. So the next thing is stakeholder requirements. You must have a comprehensive list of your stakeholders, their expectation, and their specific requirement. Every stakeholder, you must, within that stakeholder, you say, this is what the stakeholder wants. That you must have it. That is stakeholder requirement metrics. These are all the requirements we are going to be capturing. Then we have another one called data requirement. What is the kind of data we are going to capture within this system? What kind of data? So that is data requirement, data input and output, and data processing need. If you are building a CRM system, what are the kind of data you need to capture? For instance, we are talking about lead. If you want to capture a lead is a person, a customer, or it can equally be a company. So whichever way, then we must capture the person's, either the person's name or the company's name. So name is going to be part of the data requirements. That is data input. Email is going to be part of the data. Phone number, contact number. These are some of the things we want to understand. The kind of data we are going to need in every system is important. From the beginning, it must be agreed on. So these are the kind of requirements we are going to be using. And then as you are progressing in your requirement gathering or requirement processing or documentation, like I told you, requirement gathering is a continuous process. So as requirement documentation, you do not do everything in one day or in 1 week or in 1 month. It takes time for you to nurture the requirements. It's a continuous process. But you must start from somewhere. Starting from somewhere is what we call initial requirement gathering. I'm not trying it because some people will think that once you gather requirement, it's all over. It's not all over. And processing that requirement, documenting it, is not a one-off something. After gathering this requirement, the first stage, you gather, it becomes functional, non-functional requirement. From that non-functional requirement, at that point, we'll call it business requirements. It's still requirement. As you are progressing in the project, you still translate that business requirements into functional requirement, not functional, technical requirements. And that is when you are trying to make it, translate it so that some other people that are going to work on that requirement will understand it better. Most of the developers, they do not understand business requirements because they cannot process that information from that level. They can only start processing that requirement when it's converted into technical requirement. And that is what is bringing us to user stories. They are still going to be part of the requirement. User stories. At this time, we are translating this number one here. You see this number one requirement here. Functional requirements, we're now translating them into technical requirements. User stories are technical requirements. Description of features from the end user perspective, often in a format of this way. As a user, I want to perform this action so that I can achieve this goal. You have to translate all the technical requirements, so all the business requirements into these technical requirements. So can call it here business requirements. And this becomes technical requirements. So, yeah, that is part of the documentation. And after creating that technical requirement, you need to create different scenarios. You need to show how users, how all the features are going to be used, who is going to use it, and how is it going to be used, and the kind of value they are going to drive in a diagram. And that's what we call use cases. You equally need to create what we call use case scenarios. Use case scenarios equally comes with use case diagram. These are part of the things we are going to do. So, and then risk and assumption. Risk associated with meeting the requirement and assumption made during the documentation. So anything pertaining the requirement, every risk, you need to equally capture them as well. So this is what is required when we talk about requirement documentation. If you do not follow this process, I'm not saying that it's not good or it's not going to be accepted by your company, but if you want to showcase your expertise, follow this process and document it the way we're going to do it. Okay. During the modeling, these are things that need to be done during the modeling. Modeling, we call it unified modeling language. Like I said, this is our language. I told us in every key tech environment or tech role or tech part, they have their own language. If you come to the BAs, we use what we call unified modeling language. It's all about creating diagrams, different types of diagrams. We communicate through diagram. We don't believe in so much text or word. We draw diagram when we want to talk about something, through illustration, through diagram. If you go to data analysts, they use what we call SQL. You know, That is what they use. And then if you go to programmers, they use programming language. And today we have another language because we have another sheriff in town, and that is AI. So the language of AI is called prompt. It's called prompt language, or that's why we have a lot of prompt engineering. People are now learning how to. You might think it's a very small, because that language is made easier because we use that language. Most of the other language we use is a bit technical, but this one, we try to use it through our natural language. The way what I'm speaking is called natural language. What I use to prepare this note is called natural language. So this prompt is natural language. So the point we're trying to clarify here is modeling is actually a language in business analysis. So that is it. We create a process map during the modeling, virtual representation of workflows, including Aziz and Toby. All the Aziz and Toby we created in the initial stage. We're going to model all of them. We have data flow diagram, illustrates how data moves through the system. We have entity relationship diagram, define relationship between data and entity. Wireframing or mockups create visual prototype of the system interface. In this one, BAs equally does it, but in most cases, it's meant for UX UI analysts. UX UI analysts, they're the people that create these mockups, wireframe, 3Ds. This is what they do. But in so many cases, company might not want to spend a lot of money for it. These are things we treated earlier. You are going to be seeing yourself trying to create mockups as well. We're going to be creating swim lane diagram. The PIT process divide into lane for each owner or a role to have what we call swim lane diagram. We are going to use a swim lane diagram to create Aziz process flow or Toby process flow. And then use case diagram. Talk about use cases. So visualize the relationship between an actor. An actor is a person that is going to use that system or solution you are trying to implement. So the relationship between the actor and the system, for instance, the CRM system is a system. ERP is a system. So if you talk about CRM, who are those people using CRM? We have sales rep, we have sales manager, we have marketing team. So a sales rep is actually called an actor. You know, actor is not only a human being. A machine or a system can equally be an actor. When we have a CRM system, and this our CRM system is interacting with an ERP system, that ERP has now become an actor. Or when we are integrating an email like Gmail or Outlook with the CRM system, this is an external body to that CRM system. They are called actors. So that is it. Any relationship, any entity relating with the system is called an actor. And the system itself is called system. So these are what we are going to do during the requirement modeling. Try to capture all these. Yeah, steps to create requirement documentation and modeling. First, conduct requirement gathering. Meet with stakeholders to identify their need and challenges, which we have done. We have done that one. in our tutorial, is like so it's a process we are going to follow. We have taught you how we are going to go about with your requirement gathering, so you know that. So once you've done that, organize the information, categorize requirement as functional, non-functional, and data related. We've already spoken about it. Then develop as is and to be models, analyze current workflow and the future workflow. We've talked about it as well. Validate requirements with stakeholders. Before you keep it as a functional document, live document that supports the project, it must get authorization. A key stakeholder must look at it and say, yes, I'm happy with this document, let's keep it. If they are not happy, you continue to refine it until they are happy. You must get a confirmation that the documented requirement aligns with the stakeholder expectation. Draft supporting model. Use diagram like process map, process flow diagram for clarity. That's why we model it. A system is a big investment. You know, companies spend a lot. So we don't want stories. That's why you use anything, everything within our disposal to make sure that we bring visibility, we bring clarity and understanding, making sure that everybody within that project is on the same page. Because companies are doling out a lot of money, you know, to develop this system. That's why they are paying you huge amount of money. You as a business analyst, you are earning up to £700 a day as a business analyst. So you must do everything possible to make sure that you bring something valuable to table. So, and iterate and finalize, review documents for completeness and make updates based on feedback. Once you have a feedback from the stakeholders, and you can use it to finalize your documentation, and that's it. So, requirements document for PayGo CRM implementation. So this is going to be a case study. So you see all these stories I've been telling you. Let's see it in a live scenario, how we are trying to start creating a document. So PayGo is a remittance company trying to, a remittance, all of you should know what a remittance. Remittance company is a company that are sending money abroad. They want to create a CRM system for the company. So after the requirement gathering, now they want to document everything. See the way they started? Started by creating document control. Every document, if you see all my documents, it must have versioning. No matter how lazy or how I'm in a haste, I'll try as much as I can to give it versioning. You know why? Everyone I created, before I change my mind to create it, there must be a reason why I just created that particular one. I can't just delete it because I've created a new one, but I can't use a new one to replace it. I prefer giving it versioning. You know why? At times you might think version 5 is better, but you can just wake up and realize that, yeah, you need to go back to version 4. And if you have deleted version 4 because you want to create version 5, is going to be difficult. You've lost memory. It's not easy to pull it back. So it's always good professionally to start versioning it. So when you wake up and decided to add another layer, or you started thinking smarter than you used to think, you create a version 2. And it's equally good. People going through your document or through the program will always see the progression. So that is why I captured this version in here, version control. So here, this is version 1, and you write a date, the author, the reviewer, and the approval date. And here is the first requirement documentation, executive summary. So now we need to start with an executive summary. It's important to give a basic understanding, basic overview of what is going on here. Okay. By the time we finish this executive summary, all of you will start aligning and start understanding and even start becoming more curious to know what is going to happen next. So Payigo is a multi-agent remittance company marketplace based in London that aims to improve its lead management process through the implementation of a customer relationship management CRM system. This document outlines the functional and non-functional requirements as is and to be processed, and a comprehensive solution approach for the CRM implementation. So, giving you an idea of what we plan to do here, and we'll start with what is the business objective: to automate lead capture, assignment, and tracking. Number 2, provide real-time dashboard for performance analysis. Number 3, enhance lead conversion rate and customer satisfaction. And 4, reduce manual workload and error in lead management. So this is a high-level business objective we're trying to achieve. Okay. Then continue to break them down. What is the scope of this project? In scope is area that need to be covered, and out scope is areas that we don't need to venture into. It might look so good to have, so appetizing, but keep away. Yeah, at this point, keep away. It might form the next project, but at this point, keep away. That is out of scope. Okay, let's look at in scope. Implement a CRM system for lead management, automation of lead capture, assignment, and follow-up reminder, and integration with existing communication channel like email, phone, web form, and training of stakeholders on how to use the CRM system. That is the scope. Out of scope, non-lead management functionalities, keep away. In the CRM system, it's not only for lead. CRM system have so many things. They have customer management as well. We call it contact management. So there's so many other things we can use the CRM system to achieve outside of lead. So now we want to understand the stakeholders. Like I said, we need to create the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? And what are their interests? And what are their expectations? We need to, I spoke about it early. So now we see list of stakeholders. In this stakeholder list, we have sales team, we have sales manager, we have customers, we have IT team, and we have senior management. These are different stakeholders. Under the sales team, what are their interests? Their interest here is end user of the CRM system. So they are going to be the people to use the CRM system. That is their role and interest using the CRM system. What are they expecting from us, the project team, by the time we finish implementing the CRM system? This is what they want to see from us. Easier lead assignment and tracking. Okay, we'll come to sales manager. Their role here is to oversee team performance. They manage the team. What are they expecting to see from us? Real-time reporting and improved efficiency. You can see these two people. Their expectation from us, the project team, differs. So that's why you cannot use what you gather from one stakeholder to make overall judgment, because everybody have interest. Now we see customers making inquiries. Their own here is to make inquiries for services, timely response, and better service. That's what they need from us. And we have IT team. Their own is to CRM implementation and post implementation, which is support. Seamless integration with existing system. That is the expectation. And then we have senior management. They want to use this for decision-making purposes. So they are decision makers for projects. They need better insights into sales performance. You see how we just capture this very beautiful. You now know what everybody is trying to understand from you, so that if you run into a sales manager, you can easily have a brief discussion with him. Yeah, we are working on it. You see, we are going to give you a very good reporting, real-time reporting. When you meet a sales manager and he knows we are working on CRM and you just hit, we are working on their deliverable, very good reporting and analytics dashboard. Very soon you'll see it. You know that, you already know that he's a stakeholder and you understand his need. You're already his friend. He'll be very happy with you. You've already identified. That's why it's important to understand stakeholders and their expectation. But once you meet a very important stakeholder and he's just trying to tell you how is it going, I say, can you remind me your name? He's going to be very upset. It means you don't even know what you require from you, and we are building this important project for them. Okay, let's move. We've talked about stakeholders, the way you are going to document the stakeholders that are going to be part of this project. Let's look at the requirement itself, which is business requirements. So under the business requirements, call it business requirements. Business. So we have functional requirements. That's it here. We've captured the functional requirements. And you see, when we are creating a table for our requirements, it's always good to have a table. You can create it other way, but it's important to have a table so that will look neat. So we have ID, unique identifier. Every requirement must have a unique identifier. Why is it? Because at times you might want to have all these requirements in a system. So if you want to look for a particular requirement like JIRA, you just type the unique ID and it's going to pull the whole requirement for you. We'll have unique ID, we'll have requirements, description, and prioritization, how important they are going to be. Now, the first one here is the FR, that is functional requirement 001, to automate lead capture from email, phone, and web form is very high. And assign lead to agent based on predefined rule, very high. Number 3, allow agents to update lead status in real time, high. And generate real-time dashboard for lead performance, medium. And 5, set automatic follow-up reminder for agents, and that is equally high. You see, you've captured the requirements, functional requirements. These are key functions the CRM system must have. Then, business requirement is not only functional requirement, we only have non-functional requirements. A non-functional requirement is unique ID, is NF001. The system must be accessible 24 hours, 247 is important, high. Number 2, the system must handle up to 10,000 lead monthly, medium. The CRM system must comply with the data regulation, that is GDPR, depending on the country, but its data regulation and protection standard, high. And 4, system must respond. System response time must exceed 2 seconds, meaning that it has to be fast loading, and that is it. So we've captured 3, we've documented 3 requirements here. We see stakeholders, functional and non-functional, which is business requirements, and then here we'll have as-is flow. Documenting the current process flow, which is as-is. The current process is highly manual and involves capturing leads via Excel sheets, manual assignment, and weekly report compilation. So that is the way they do their work on a daily basis through this process. And why is it important to always capture and model it, so that by the time we finish our modeling and do a bit of gap analysis, we should be able to identify areas of improvement. We use a value stream. Value stream mapping should help us to identify areas of improvement and areas that do no longer add value to the system or to the organization, or causing delay or inefficiency. So number 1 in this process is customer inquiry. The first thing that happens is that customer inquiry, customer contact agent via email or phone, and it's customer. So the lead capture, this person is a lead. So then the information is captured. Lead information is manually recorded on Excel. The agent does this recording. Then manual assignment. Manager assign lead to agent manually to follow up. Sales manager does that. Then follow up. Agent contact the lead for follow-up, agent. Update lead status. Agent update lead status after every follow-up. Weekly reporting. Managers compile data from agent spreadsheets and for them to have overall insights of their progress. As you can see, is manual. This is a manual process of handling lead. Yeah. So You see it's still a document. It's not, we have not modeled it. It's still a document, documented it using a table. Then we document the to-be process flow. This we captured here in manual. How do we want it to be in an automated system like CRM system? Once you get it automated, so under the to-be, this is it. Number one, customer inquiry. Customer contact agent via email, phone, or web, or integrated with a CRM. Then, as you can see here, automated lead capture, because the CRM system is automated, and whenever a customer make any inquiry, automatically you capture it. You know, you don't need any, just capture it, that automation. So the lead are automatically captured in the CRM system. So you can see this time, like I told you, that those interacting with the system, you can see the system is interacting with itself. It captures, it does this work. So if the CRM system does the capture, then automation continues, automated lead assignment. You are going to automate the system that once you capture a lead and saw it, assign it to the lead to available agents. So the system can assign based on available agents. You can use a rule or a logic to automate the system. Say, if the agent is local, the most closest agent will be assigned it. And if the agent is busy, assigned to the next agent. So you have to use a logic to create automation for them to be carrying out this kind of automated activity. But you can see you are removing this manual work away from employees. The sales manager, the agent who captures, they are no longer there. You remove the sales agent who captures. You equally remove the sales manager who does the assignments. And equally, after assigning, automate follow-up reminder. When there is a follow-up, there is automatic reminder. The system sends reminder to agents to follow up. You see, after every meeting with the lead, automatically follow up after every 2 days or 3 days or 1 week. So you get a reminder, that is automation. And update lead status. And here you see agent is doing this one. Agent updates the lead updates in real time. Why? The system, you've gone out to speak with the agent, the customer. The system might not know what you must have discussed, whether he's happy, continue or not. But at this point, the system cannot do it if it requires, this requires manual handling. And real-time reporting, the CRM system generates real-time dashboard for lead tracking, CRM system. And you see reporting, review, and analysis, the management review lead data and trends. So you can see that after the automation, how many people are still left here to do some work? We have agents, you see here agent and management. Every other thing in the system working for you. And that's it. So you see the way this is carefully documented. So that is it. Then we come to data requirement. What are the requirements? The data requirements, inputs and outputs, the type of data needed to do this work. So here we have field for capturing lead. Where do we capture lead? Under lead, we have name, we have contact info, we have inquiry type, and we have source. Then data import and export functionalities. What are the tools we need to do that? For Excel and other formats. Then role-based access. We must give agents or users access based on what they do. So have role. So this is the data requirement. The way you assess the management of data within the system is equally defined. And the risk associated with the requirements we've captured already. The risk here we've identified is lack of user adoption is high. We provide mitigation, provide a comprehensive training for stakeholders. Yeah, you see that they are struggling. Yeah, they are suffering, but they are going to be struggling to learn a new system. So what are you going to do after implementing a very powerful CRM system? You train them. Once you give them comprehensive training, it's going to reduce the adoption challenges. And then data migration error, which is medium, conduct trial, migration, and validate. Delay in implementation, define clear timeline and milestone. And then success criteria. Success factor, you must always capture what success looks like. What success looks like in this project is 90% of lead must be captured automatically within the first month of implementation. Lead response time could be reduced by 50% within the first quarter. We must equally have a positive feedback of around 80% of agents and managers within the first 3 months as well. And that is our success criteria. And if you come down again, you see we have appendix. You attach all this you've done. Use case lead automation, user stories, so other things that need to be attached. Like as we are progressing, we're going to be generating more documents like process map. So yeah. So now we've done that. Our documentation is not complete, and we've captured because very soon we are going to move to process modeling. We can document a detailed, that is low-level documentation of Aziz and to be processed. On that form or that table, it was on high level. So we need to break it down in a very low level so that we can be able to do effective modeling. And this is the process flow. Detailed aspects of it, you see lead acquisition. This is the time we are telling the story. The marketing agents, lead are captured manually from various sources, such as walking events, at events, online inquiries through a basic contact form on the website, email outreach response, and referral. And the information is stored in a spreadsheet. See, it's more detailed here. And lead qualification, the second stage, the sales manager manually review the lead to categorize them as whether they are hot, ready to sign up, whether they are warm, interested but need follow up, whether they are cold, ready but not ready and not interested. So leads are prioritized based on limited criteria. Then we have lead assignments. At on the one, you see here the sales manager the sales manager are the responsible for assigning lead. Lead are distributed to sales rep based on their availability and proximity. So those who are available and the closest gets assigned. So the assignment depends on how, at that point of assignment, the first thing we check is who is available and who is closest. And assignment is manual and follow up. Sales rep follow up with lead through email or phone call. The follow-ups are tracked using personal calendar or notes, leading to missed opportunities. So you see it, these are some of the challenges they're having because of their manual handling. And then lead conversion. Sales reps successfully lead are manually converted into customers. Then their data is entered into spreadsheet system for onboarding and reporting and analysis, which is sales manager. Then sales manager reports are generated manually by consolidating data from various sources. So they gather data from different sources, merge it together to form a report. The insights are limited and not often delayed. So with this detailed process flow we created here, we can jump in and start creating our process modeling. Yeah, and that is it here. With this detailed documentation, it brings us to modeling, process modeling. So you see, that's what I've done. All this story I've told, I put it in a diagram. And that's it. That's his requirement documentation and modeling. So it can be bigger, can be smaller, but this is the best practice when you want to do a thorough job. You follow this process. But if you want to do a shabby job, you can just call your notes a document. That's what so many of us do. You call a note a document. Note cannot be a document. So you see the way I organize this my own. So that's it. If you got any question for me, can buy me a cup of coffee if you want to ask me a question. Don't have money for buying me a coffee. Don't ask me. I'm joking. Yeah, so this is where we are for tonight. So if you got any question, you just come up. Okay, I can see it's a wonderful presentation from Mr. Charles Ugu. So that's good. Well, the students are very happy. Nobody have anything to ask. It means it's highly digested. So tomorrow you come. We're going to. There's no need for installation. All you need to do is we're going to use draw.io. With draw.io, you will be able to do the process modeling. You don't need installation. I saw somebody raising hand where I'm trying to finish my statement. So are you scared of or changing your mind of just answer your question? Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. So Franklin.
Thank you, sir.
It's called Franklin Sokoro. Yeah, you raise your hand. Or you are shy because of you don't want them to laugh you. Okay.
I can't hear you, sir. The signal is very bad.
Okay. Then try go watch the video. Yeah. Okay. Okie dokie. And see you guys tomorrow. And yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
we're progressing. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.